used to pray for times like this, to rhyme like this, so I had to grind like that, to shine like this. In a matter of time I spent on some locked up shit.
This is your host with the most Philly Gem coming at you another video. And welcome to the draft week. It is finally time for the draft. The draft is always an interesting time of year. We are excited to see what the Philadelphia Eagles are going to do in the draft. We've been talking about it for a long time. I had a live stream last night when I was talking about the draft. And my series that I did on the draft prospects, I did several videos on guys I think that the Eagles have their eye on. But today, I am going to talk about 3 potential trades that you could see the Philadelphia Eagles making on draft night. The first trade we are going to talk about today is the Philadelphia Eagles potentially trading for the defensive end from the Seattle Seahawks, Frank Clark. So Frank Clark was an absolute beast for the Seattle Seahawks. He has 2 double-digit sack seasons, including last season. He had 13 sacks. So the guy, he can really rush the passer, and bringing in a guy like Frank Clark can put the Philadelphia Eagles defensive line in a position to be the best defensive line in the league when you look at guys across the board, even the depth, rotation, guys coming in and out, starters, of course, Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, Malik Jackson, Frank Clark, and then coming off the bench, Vinny Curry, Travion Hester, somebody you draft in this draft. There are a lot of talented defensive tackles. You just get one guy to be your rotational guy. Your defensive line is going to be phenomenal. It's going to be outstanding. And teams, quarterbacks, offensive coordinators, offensive line coaches are just going to have nightmares wanting to prepare for this. So one thing you could see the Philadelphia Eagles doing is picking up the phone to Seattle Seahawks. Seattle Seahawks asking price is a first-round pick. So I know it wouldn't be very popular to want to give away the 25th overall pick for Frank Clark. So here's what you could do. If there's a lot of talented pass rushers in this year's draft, there's a lot of guys the Eagles probably want, and if there's guys that the Eagles really want, they're going to trade up for them. But if there's not and they stay at 25, then they have the option between using the 25th overall pick on a guy who they could develop into being a really good defensive lineman, or a guy who's already proven that he is a double-digit sack guy in Frank Clark. You could possibly see the Eagles saying, you know what, Seattle, here you go. And you get the 25th overall pick. And normally I would say no, but because we have a draft pick that is kind of in the mid-20s, he's definitely not worth. That's probably the max that he was worth, is like a mid to late first-round pick. He's a very good pass rusher. Is he Khalil Mack? No. Is he J.J. Watt? No. Is he a guy who, Von Miller, guys who can just completely change the game? No, he's not. But he would still make the Eagles unstoppable on the defensive line. I would consider doing this trade. The second trade scenario that could go down for the Philadelphia Eagles is potentially trading up in the draft for some player that they really like and they really want to get on the team and that they have no shot at getting if they chill at 25. Well, let's just think about it. The Eagles could move up quite a bit if they were willing to move on from one of their second-round picks, let's say the 53rd overall pick in the second round, plus your 25th overall pick. You could probably get into the teens just about to the top 10, I think, if you find a team that would be willing to do that. And I think what the Eagles need to do is trade the 53rd overall pick and the 25th overall pick with I gotta remember the draft order. But all I know is you have to get in front of the Green Bay Packers, who have the 12th overall pick. Whoever has the 11th overall pick, I hope it's not Washington, because if it's Washington, I think Washington has around like the 13th overall pick or something. They may have a little bit earlier than that. I'm gonna have to look after I do this video so I make sure I know what I'm talking about. But you got to jump Green Bay, because I think Green Bay wants Devin Bush. And if Green Bay passes on Devin Bush, then it makes things a little bit easier. You won't have to trade up as far. And in this scenario, if he does get past Green Bay, here's what you do. You have to find a way to jump over the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh Steelers, losing Ryan Shazier to that gruesome back injury has really, 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 really been bad for them. So a guy like Devin Bush I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are just they're salivating at the thought of getting Devin Bush. So Devin Bush on the Philadelphia Eagles, he would be the guy that you really, really want to put on your team. Of course, he came from the University of Michigan. He was one of the best. He was probably the best tackler in college football. Can run sideline to sideline. Can hit the quarterback. Very good pursuit. He's got speed. He can cover linebacker. He can cover tight ends. Excuse me. He can cover wide. He can't. Probably not wide receivers. Not so much. Running backs. You gotta deal with Saquon Barkley catching passes out of the backfield and running through you all day. You got to deal with Ezekiel Elliott running through you all day. You got to get a guy who can for sure make these tackles and get these big-time running backs that we have to play in our division to the ground. So my second trade scenario is the Philadelphia Eagles moving up into the teens over the Green Bay Packers and selecting Devin Bush. Third and final trade scenario is going to be in the second round. The Philadelphia Eagles traded their third-round pick in 2019 for Golden Tate. So they are currently without a third-round pick. So here's what the Eagles could do. You have 2 second-round picks. You could move out of the 57th overall pick to a team like the New York Jets. The New York Jets do not have I actually think they do have a second round pick, but I think you could see the Jets moving on from linebacker Darren Lee. If the Eagles decide, moving on for Devin Bush is going to cost too much, you could get Darren Lee on this team, plus you could get a third round pick for him. You get Darren Lee and a third round pick for that 57th overall selection. You can take out 2 birds with 1 stone. Go Birds. Taking out 2 other birds with that stone. You could get a very solid player with an early third-round pick, which is what you probably will be getting with the New York Jets. You could get like a safety. You could get a guy like Darnell Savage. I think he is possibly a candidate that will be there early in the third round. So with that being said, guys, these are my 3 trade scenarios for the Philadelphia Eagles heading into the 2019 NFL Draft. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Which one of these trades should the Eagles go ahead and pull the trigger on? With that being said, go Birds. I'm out.
Yeah, you should have never doubted me. The pain and the struggle followed me. My daddy napping that bothered me. And these cold streets made a man of me. There were times